Let's immediately go to the phone here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to keep our guest waiting here. We have on the phone with us today, George. It is Takei, right, George?
Takei.
Okay, George Takei.
Okay.
What's that?
Rhymes with okay.
Okay. George Takei rhymes with okay. And George, of course, Mr. Sulu from Star Trek. And George, you got a new book out called To the Stars.
That's right. It's selling like the proverbial hotcakes.
Hey, good deal.
You know something, George? I want to go right to a page here in your book.
Yes.
It's page number 382. Okay, and let me just read from your book for just a moment. You're talking about being on the phone with Walter Koenig, who played Mr. Chekhov, correct?
That's right.
Okay, and here's
he pronounces his name Koenig.
Okay. Okay. Well, here is the passage. Here's the passage. Guess what? I had never heard Walter's voice so heavy with foreboding. Bill Shatner is going to direct Star Trek V. Oh my God, I intoned. What are we going to do? And then you go on to say, we all feared the prospect of working with Bill as director. It was difficult enough to act with him, but just the thought of having him so totally in control of our artistic lives was utterly dispiriting. We would probably be reduced to even less significance in his version of the movie. Now, let's get to the first question here. We talked to Leonard Nimoy when he was in town for a Trekkie convention about a month or 2 months ago.
Yes.
And he kind of avoided the question, is William Shatner really that unpopular with the rest of the cast members?
Leonard is a true diplomat. He's one of the rare gentlemen of the world.
But you're not?
Galaxies, I should say.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, it's very difficult working with Bill. Most actors learn over the years that your own performance gets enhanced by having good actors around you to work off their rhythm or to go counter to their rhythm. But the better the actors are that surround you, the better your performance becomes. Bill's approach is the polar opposite of that. He's got to rise and shine above everybody else and at their cost. And it became, over the years, a very frustrating situation where, lines would be snitched, cameras would be moved so that other actors would be cut out, little niggling things as well as major things that piled on top of the other. And it got to be very difficult. And then when it came to Bill directing a movie, initially the thought, as I say in that book, was very dispiriting. But the other thing that we discovered during the course of the shooting of Star Trek V was, Bill's a very clever guy, and he knows that as a director he's going to need the cooperation of the cast, and so his approach was quite the opposite. There's a side to Bill that most of the public knows, and that's the charming side, the witty side, the very overtly gregarious side.
Right.
And he became he decided to act the part of a charming, encouraging, supportive director. And to our surprise, it was not the heavy, burdensome experience that we thought it'd be.
So did his directing go something like this? George, go over there. You're in this shot. We do from time to time do William Shatner impersonations here on the show.
Sure.
You do.
Yeah, because his acting is so well, you can't mistake his acting.
It's easy to do.
Diplomatically said.
Style of this unfathomable break in his line reading. Why it happens, you don't know. But there are these odd breaks there.
Right.
That's again. I mean, he's acting by himself. He's not acting with the others around him. He's doing his own thing with a glass shell around him.
So do you think the other cast members of Star Trek never really got enough credit for the success of the show and the movies?
Oh, we have some marvelous acts. I mean, I've personally really enjoyed working with all of the other members of the cast. We're all rugged individuals, enormously talented, and I learned a great deal. I mean, Jimmy is an old veteran of radio dramas as well as the theater, and some of the pointers that he would share with you, and Walter, as you know from the book, is a good friend and a great colleague, and I always enjoy, being on the same set with him. He's full of ideas. Nichelle has, her style, and each one of them are wonderful professionals, and it's been a great 30-year professional relationship. But beyond that, they've become good personal friends as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
so
always neat.
you mentioned Walter a lot in the book. Now, are you like everybody else when the original series of Star Trek was running? Did you have a crush on Uhura too, like everybody else?
Well, I thought that, we got some of that into Sulu's character when in that episode, Mirror, Mirror, when you see him as that flip side of the Sulu that we know and love.
Oh, that's right. That's where you had the evil cast too, right?
That's right.
And you had
how you felt about Uhura there.
That's right. And oh, that's right. Yeah, she you kind of corner her, and she's the actual the good Uhura.
That's right.
On the wrong ship, and as I remember, to make you evil, they gave you like a little wisp of hair on your chin.
No, it was a scar over my eye.
That's
Okay.
Yeah.
Sort of like the G.I. Joe
Spock
scar.
had the black beard.
Right. Spock had that little thing of hair there. Yeah. Now, we were talking to somebody yesterday about you being a practical joker on the set of Star Trek. Now, in William Shatner's book, he takes credit for stealing Leonard Nimoy's bicycle and hanging it above everything. Was that actually you?
Moi? Now, he may steal credit and bicycles. I don't.
Okay.
I will give Bill that credit.
Okay, that's fair enough. Hey, let's talk about some Star Trek episodes which you refer to in your book. You say a lot of the plots referred kind of vaguely or not so vaguely to current events like the Vietnam War and things like that, and kind of flew over the censors' heads because they didn't realize what they were about. What's your favorite episodes? What do you think of the more controversial episodes of Star Trek and so on?
Well, the episode "Let This Be Your Last Battlefield" was dealing with the civil rights movement. During the '60s, that was another issue that was tearing the country apart. And what that episode did was reduce it to the preposterous. Here were two alien groups: one that was white on one side, on the right side, and black on the left side.
Right,
yeah.
And another group that was white on the left side and black on the right side.
And yet,
what's the difference? I mean, when you look at it from the larger perspective, and that's what the race question ultimately boils down to. And here we were tearing ourselves apart, and that still has resonance for our times today in the '90s. We still haven't truly resolved that. I'm a Angelino, and back in 1965, I went through lived through the Watts riots, and I talk about that in the book. And just 2 years ago, again, we went through that fiery anguish here in Los Angeles. We still are struggling with that issue.
One thing you bring up in the book, and I don't think a lot of people even know this occurred in the country, or a lot fewer people know about this, is you and your family were interned in camps during World War II, as many Japanese Americans were.
All Japanese Americans on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Every one of us were removed from the West Coast to Washington State, Oregon, and California. The problem at that time was that this country couldn't draw that distinction between American citizens of Japanese ancestry and the Japanese nation with which we were at war. We were also at war with Germany and Italy, and thank God we didn't do that with the German Americans and the Italian Americans, but the Japanese Americans were the people that we could tell apart. So it was quite clearly racist. Suddenly our citizenship, just evaporated. In fact, we were considered the enemy, and our property was lost. They swooped down, and at gunpoint, our family was forcibly moved from our homes to this camp in the southern part of Arkansas, right on the Louisiana border there.
A little bit of change of lifestyle for you.
I was young then, 4 years old.
Right.
So for me, it was, yes, a change, but a wonderful adventure, if you will.
Yeah, I was going to say almost like an adventure for you at that age, huh?
Right.
Yeah. Hey, let's ask you about something else now. How many Trekkie conventions do you do a year?
Oh, my goodness. Well, while I was writing the book, and I wrote it for about a year and a half, I cut out the conventions. And now that I'm out being a book salesman, going all over the country selling to the stars, I haven't done a convention in about 3 months. Well, no, I take that back because I did one last weekend. It was a part of the book tour in Baltimore, which was a wonderful convention, and doing a book tour, it's so exhausting, 10 zillion interviews a day, that doing a convention last weekend in Baltimore was a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, same question we asked Leonard Nimoy. Do some of those Trekkies scare you a little bit?
No, I mean, they're wonderful. They're just as scary as enthusiastic baseball fans or opera buffs.
Right.
Star Trek fans are probably the most diverse, varied group. We have bank executives as well as college professors, engineers, computer experts, astronauts that are Star Trek fans, as well as high school students. And, it's really an amazingly diverse group of people. And ultimately, they all turn out to be our bosses.
Hey, George.
They're the ones that keep us,
They keep you
going
employed.
through the galaxy.
Sure.